She's our youngest speaker. She's 23. She's empowering young women all around the country. She's wants to get her education. That's her new goal right now, is to go to a 4-year college. Please welcome Withelma T. Ortiz.
Thank you, everybody. I greatly appreciate your applause. Before I get started, I just want to say that I have such an amazing appreciation of this conference. Since I've been here, I originally came and I thought that I was going to speak about one thing, and then I was like, oh, that's not going to cut it. And then I thought I was like, I'm going to speak about another thing, and I was like, no, that's not going to cut it. So I just really want to say that it's been such an inspiration to hear all of you share your stories, to be in the workshops, which I'm going to incorporate some of that, what I learned in my workshop this morning here today, and just to really see the amazing essence of people and humanity and the collaboration of when we come together and how we all have a heart to make a difference. So a little bit about me. I am 23. I guess I want to start this off in talking about something that happened this week. I work with many young people. I've worked with over 100 young people all across the nation who are basically subjected to being victimized through domestic human trafficking. My area of expertise is the intersection of child welfare system involved youth and domestic human trafficking victims. So I've worked with youth for years throughout my own recovery and the recovery of these youth. One young girl I've worked with since she's 15. I got to see her walk across the stage this week at the age of 21 and get her her diploma. That was the most amazing thing, to be able to be there, and I was screaming loud. And but the main point that I would like to share with you is that the theme was an attitude of an overcomer. And that struck me. It hit my heart. It was like, attitude of an overcomer. This is a perfect depiction of what this young girl represents. This is a perfect depiction of what everyone represents. We are all survivors of something. Some people in this room might be survivors of domestic violence or depression, or, there's various things that we are, as human beings, subjected to. My story is a little different. My expertise comes from not only the work that I do, but personal experience. I was in foster care system since birth. Was very much abused in all ways growing up. And so at the age of 10, I became very vulnerable, and it became very easy for an exploiter to basically take me in his stable. I was exploited from the ages of 10 to 17 all around the western United States of America. That means I was bought and sold for sexual purposes here in the United States at 10 years old, 10 to 17. Nevada, Washington, Oregon, California, everything. It was hard. It was hard. One thing that I want to talk about is the hopelessness. When you're so hopeless, when somebody has beaten you to the bone, when you're bleeding and you're crying and you just want somebody to save you, but nobody's gonna come save you. And then you're sitting here and you're told to not to cry, and then you have to walk up to this person's door and have a smile on your face. The hopelessness in that was so deep. It was so unlike anything that anybody can ever describe. It's so much more than my words can express. But one thing within that hopelessness that I always held on to is I had this innate intuition. I knew in my heart, I was like, I want to be something better. I really want to be something better. I really, really wish I could be something better. But when everything around me was telling me I was just an object and I was supposed to, this was my life. This is what I was subjected to. This is what was the path that was laid for me. And I felt so trapped. I felt so just without hope. There was just no hope. Nobody was going to save me. But I always knew inside, I was like, there's something special. I know I'm special. I know I'm special. I believe it. I really feel this. But when nobody around me was able to say, no, that is true, and nobody around me fed that part of me, it began to wilter, just like a flower. And, that innate sense is the only reason why I'm here today. After everything that has happened, I've almost been killed many times. I've seen friends of mine, the only way we were able to identify them in the desert in Nevada were because of the brandings of the pimp tattooed. I've lost friends at the age, they just turned 18. I'm with them at their 18th birthday in Las Vegas, and they interfaced with a situation in which somebody ended up dead in their hotel room, and their whole life went to prison. They're gone. These things has really, really shaped the way I really felt like I want to reach out and I want to change, and I want to change what it is for other people who are hopeless. And like I said, we're all survivors of something. We've all been in a situation in our lives that we felt hopeless. But that's not what it's about. It's really about that innate feeling that keeps us going. It's about that innate sense of, I'm here, I'm significant, and I have to make a difference. And that's actually what brought me here. You know, to get to this point, it's been that sense that I have to overcome. I have to survive. I have to live through this because I have to make sure that other people live through it. And so I carry that, the attitude of an overcomer. Like, I feel that we all should. We should all embrace that attitude of an overcomer. And it doesn't matter what we survive through, but we all, it's relevant for everybody to understand that we all have significance and purpose for our experiences. They're all purposeful and they're all significant. So I really just want to talk about, you know, how do we capitalize on what works to produce and maintain the attitude of an overcomer? One thing I can tell you is that I would never be where I'm at today if I didn't take some risks and be uncomfortable. I'm telling you, when I got here, you guys, I was like, okay, I don't know what to expect. But what I knew was, because I was in that unfamiliar space in myself, I knew that this was right. I knew that I was living on the edge. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And it sucks to be uncomfortable. It is like it's so uncomfortable. Yet at the same time, you are not gonna learn anything, and your ideas and your mindset and what you're exposed to is not gonna be able to flourish if you don't step outside of whatever lines, boundaries, boxes, whatever that people have placed before you. You know, I want to talk about how you have to be open to others. I love this conference because everybody has been so open and so nice, and so, you know, last night, those of you that were in the dance party, we were like, yeah. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome, and it was this free-spirited feeling, and that's really what it is. We are all overcomers, and we have to have that attitude of overcomers. We have to be open. We have to collaborate. There are so many. I'm sitting here, and my mind works kind of like a map, or more like a constellation system. I'm looking at all these different remarkable people and how all of you have certain purposes. Now, just like my mentors that have gotten me to where I'm at today, not everybody serves the same role. And that's just as everybody here today. We all don't serve the same role. We all have different areas of expertise. We all come from different backgrounds. But the collaboration ability here, the ability to manifest something so much greater than ourselves, and just making the connections and having the conversations. Even the conversations are so important. The small conversations. Explaining things. You know, I love to ask questions, and I am one of the younger people here, and I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions. What does that mean? I don't understand that. I had to ask questions this morning. But it's about capitalizing on the collaboration, being open to others. Those are the traits and the outcomes of an attitude of an overcomer. And also taking risks. Honestly. Oh, and what do I mean by taking risks? I will share that with you in a moment. But taking risks, they say the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But a lot of people are like, well, I'm scared of failure. There is no such thing as failure, because sometimes you learn the most amazing things by what you would call failure, but nothing is a failure, because we all flourish. We all learn from those things. They all serve a purpose in our life. Some people take risks. It doesn't go the way that they seem, but that's why you shouldn't make plans. At the same time, that's the point. It's about being open and being ready and thirsty for the journey of life. It's about really, like, when we're here, everybody, I encourage everybody, who really in their day-to-day life stops and smells a flower? Who goes and gets to see the deer? Let's go see the different types of trees. It's the small things in life that really make the bigger picture. Specifically, I know for me, because when you've been subjected to so much death and hopelessness, and, you know, you have to find the little things in life that count. You have to find the little things. When people don't want to show you a better way, make a better way. Pave your own path. That's the attitude of an overcomer. So what I also want to say is that a lot of people don't really want to, I want to talk a little bit about the youth that I work with. A lot of people really in society, we have these lenses, these societal lenses of what we were taught. And a lot of people see the young people that I work with and they're like, oh, well, they're standing on the street corner and they choose to do that. And that's something that, and they use the foulest word of prostitution. I just want to clarify that these young people, they have the ability to surpass me. They have the ability to surpass us. But we cannot keep them confined by stereotypes, the language that we use. These young people are not those who are trying to be, they're not prostitutes. First of all, oftentimes, they're not even of age to consent to sex. So how can they be selling something that they don't legally have the right to have? I pose the question. So I just really wanted to say that one thing that I try to do in sharing my story, because it's not easy. It's not something that, like, you see, I don't spend too much time in the details. The details are gruesome. They're hard. They're not nice. At the same time, my biggest purpose for telling my story is that it's not about me. It's really not about me. It's about, as we sit here at this conference today, there are young people that are enduring the traumas that I once lived through. And that's why I have to tell the story, not only so that we can get people to pay attention to the population and the needs of these youth, but the fact that these youth can be all of you. They can be all of us. They can be our next lawyers, doctors, judges, veterinary assistants. Anything that we can think of, these youth have the ability to have, but they've never had somebody turn around and tell them, like, I needed somebody to tell me, you're worth it. You are amazing. And even though you don't see the road right now, there's something great out there for you. I'm still learning this. Part of everything that I do is being very transparent about my process. I am still learning. I am only 23, trying to figure life out as a young woman and dating, and it's just a lot going on, separate from my experiences, And this whole year has been about self-actualization. And that's what I hope to do for everybody, that we have to self-actualize and define ourselves separate from the things that were done to us, or separate from what we were subjected to, separate from the circumstances that we all face with. Some people don't even realize. They're like, oh, my life is fine. I live in Oakland, California. So everybody's like, oh, my life is fine. Everything's great. But do you realize you're subjected to environmental racism? Do you realize that when you go to nice areas, there's not a church and a liquor store and a taco truck on every corner? So it's really about thinking about things in a bigger picture. And so one thing that I just wanted to say is that I pride myself on the fact that it's not about me. It's about everybody else. It's about these young people who are being victimized. And the thing that I want to say is that I can't always be there. I'm not going to be a lawyer, a judge, a doctor. That's just, I ain't got it like that. I'm not going to do that. But if I can't be the one, if I'm not that fire who's going to be livening up this hospital, or if I'm not the fire that's writing a book, or if I'm not the fire that's training dogs, these young people and everybody we interface with have that ability. Let's be fire starters. I can't be everywhere, so I got to spark the fire in you, and I got to spark the fire in you, and I got to spark the fire in you, and you have to go in, and we got to be like wildfires, taking over whole mountains. Really, it's about sparking the inner essence of the human spirit. And that's really what I'm here to say, is that, we have to capitalize on that. We have to work and face our lives with an attitude of an overcomer. Last thing I want to say is that this morning I attended Tamara's conference, and she did it was an amazing exercise where we held people's hands and we looked, and we don't, everybody was partnered off with other people, and, we held people's hands and we looked at them, and we were supposed to tell them what was beautiful about them and what their gifts were and what we appreciated about them without even knowing them. And so I just want to do that for the room. You are all beautiful for the talents that you hold. You are all beautiful for the fact that you want to change the world, that you want to make it better for other people. That's what makes you beautiful. Your gifts, I think that's totally obvious. We have so many different gifts in this room, and not even talking about your areas of expertise or your profession, but just your everyday, day-to-day life conversations and the influence you have. Those are your gifts. Let's capitalize on them. And lastly, I appreciate each and every one of you, because everything that you're doing, everything that you are, and everything you can be, because that's all I want to give to the world, is ensuring that everybody knows what they are, what they can be, and what they have the ability to achieve. Thank you so much.